Hey everybody, welcome to animation prompt number 3. And today we're supposed to be animating something falling. And before we were animating the ball, but this time, the ball bouncing, but this time, since we're animating the prove the weight. So we're going to be proving the weight, and you can see here, I made a couple of experiments to show you guys. So I made the bowling pin, and I made a water balloon, and I also made a feather, because these three objects have different weights. And you can see when I try to play them, you can see the burden to prove the weight of an object that is falling is what we're going to be animating in this prompt. So let's go ahead and actually create a whole new let me call it falling object. And as usual, I'm gonna go ahead and make my canvas a little bit colored so I can see exactly where it starts and where it ends. And I already have my canvas here. I'm gonna go ahead and bring my pencil to start the sketching. And I'm gonna try to make this about 12 frames. So it's about 1 second standard animation. Let me start with the water balloon, because it's the one that has the most animation. And so what's going to happen is you're going to find that you're going to have a big problem when it comes to drawing the after animation exercise, in that you're going to need to have to draw a lot more frames to show the settling of the balloon. So we're going to start off with a balloon right up top here in its original form, in its original water balloon form. Don't dread the drawing too much. You'll capture that later on. You could narrow that down later on, but for now, all you should care about is to get the frames right, and then the details will come later on. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and draw my water balloon up there, and I'm gonna animate it in 3 frames. So in 3 frames, it has to be on the ground, and then the rest of the frames are all going to be after animation. So you can see in the first frame there, it's just in its normal state. And in the second frame, I wanted to kind of have this soupy look, which means it's going to be going like this. It's going to start to show the weight going down. And in the third frame, I want it to hit the ground. So the ground is going to be flat, which means as soon as it hits the ground, it's going to flatten out. And the rest of it is going to still be coming down to hit the ground in a manner that looks a little bit like this, like a Hershey's Kiss candy. So I'm gonna do it that way. If I play what I have, you can see it goes by so fast, but that's actually what you need. And now that we've hit the ground, we're gonna start splashing out. So remember, stretch and squash. So we did stretch on the second. Actually, I'm gonna need to squash it a little bit more on this second frame here. I'm gonna need to squash and stretch it a little bit, even a little bit more. So when I play, you can see it's coming down and you know, hitting the ground, and as soon as it hits the ground, it splatters. So now we're squashing it. Oops, I need a pencil. We're squashing it even more. Flat ground. It just hit. And it has that top of the balloon where the air or where the water goes in and splat on the ground. You can see that. So we're gonna add another one right here. Oops, wait, I actually drew that entire frame on a wrong. I drew that entire drawing on a wrong frame. It's supposed to be on frame number 4. So you delete it and you redraw. This is why this is called animation hell, because it actually helps you to practice a lot more drawing. Which of course you're gonna need if you want to be an animator. Drawing, there is no shortcuts to it. You have to be able to draw on a daily basis. And so now it's splattering out. So I think I'm gonna squeeze the splatter even more, even farther. So I'm gonna go ahead and start it off here and exaggerate it a little bit more this way. Bring it in. Bring it farther this way. And draw the tip. Trying to make it as simple as possible and not dreading the so you can see now it's starting to like it's falling down and then splattering out. And I think I'm gonna do the splatter one more time, and then we'll begin to carve it back in. So I'm gonna exaggerate it even farther one more time. And of course, draw my tip. I don't want to forget that. And if you're paying attention, you can see that the tip is also kind of moving. So you can see that it's splattering out. And now what it's gonna do, it's gonna go even farther down a little bit and then pump up a little bit one more time. So on frame number 7, but you can see now the changes are not too much. From the previous frame. They're not very drastic changes. So if I play that, you can see, boom, now it's starting to slow down a little bit, and I like that. And now, on frame number 8, I'm gonna splash it back up. So what's gonna happen, it's still a lot flat down here. It's gonna stay flat for the rest of the drawings down here, but the changing behavior is gonna be in here. Now it's gonna start to swoop back in and start to shoot back up again a little bit, and all the way this way to start to regain its original form. To start to regain its original form. And on frame number 9, still flat down here. So you'll find that actually most of the animation is not going to be the balloon falling. Most of the animation is actually going to be this after animation, the after effect it does when it hits the ground. That's where most of your frames are going to be. So you can see it shoots back up a little bit. And on frame 10, I'm going to make it calm down a little bit now to settle the water, because I have 10, 11, 12, 2 frames left. So now I'm gonna settle the water a little bit. To get ready for the last 2 frames. If I play what I have still, you can see it's settling now. It's settling the water. And the last 2 frames are gonna bring it down a little bit just to settle now. So this is gonna be the ones that are most closest to the original. Oops, that's too high. And if I play, you can see it's falling and then going up and then going down a little bit. And you can exaggerate that. So you can make it fall, go up, go down, go up, go down, go up, go down a few times depending on what fluid you want to really animate. But for me, I think I'm going to make it a little simpler. And so I'm going to put the last frame, which is going to be almost close to the frame number 11. Like very, very subtle changes. Almost the same. Almost. I want it to be almost. Oops. I can't draw. I want it to be almost the same as the second last frame. And cut it off down here. And if I play what I have, you can see it falls down, goes up a little bit, and then settles. So you can see that's the weight of the fluid. It goes whoop, and then, plays around a little bit at the end, and then, settles. And now, in the same 12 frames, we're going to be animating a feather. So we're going to go ahead on our first frame, and now we're going to try to draw a feather first. I told you don't worry too much about the drawing for this exercise, but you should worry about, the button of the weight. And so this is just going to be an indication of the feather. I'm going to draw these over here, like so. Just a quick indication of a feather, for drawing purposes, for people to know, actually, that's a feather. That's what I'm going for here. And for this one, we're not going to play around with it too much. What we're going to do is we're going to be copying and pasting. So remember, this is how you copy and paste in FlipaClip. If you want to copy the entire frame, you go down here and you click on the frame itself, and then you can copy it and either paste it forward or do whatever you want with it to paste. If you want to copy a particular part of the work on a frame, you have to use the selection tool, and then you select whatever you want to copy, and you use the tools up here, the one you have one with the matching ants and the one other box in front of it, not the two boxes. The two boxes means that you're pasting, but now you're copying, so you use that to copy. And now I'm gonna go on frame number 2, and I'm gonna use the two full boxes to paste it. And you can see now I have the information of the feather on the second frame. And for this one, I'm just gonna move it just an inch, because the feather is, very, very soft and no weight, so it goes slower than the water balloon. And I'm gonna go to frame number 3 and still paste it and still move it an inch. This time I can even twist it around a little bit. I can twist it around a little bit and move it. Frame number 4, paste. Move it around a little bit. Frame number 5, paste. I'm going to keep pasting that original one and just keep moving it down a little bit. Push it in, move it. So you can see the feathers movements are very unpredictable, but you can see they're going way slower than the water balloon. The water balloon is already hitting the floor and doing the after animation. The feather is still up there trying to go down. Frame number 6, paste. And now we're gonna move it down here. So at some point it may take big moves. It may move faster, it may move slower, because of the weight is very unpredictable. And in 8, still paste. Now we're gonna move it down here, down farther here. 9, paste. And now it's starting to go back this way. 10, paste. Now we're gonna go this way like this, like so. 11, paste. Turn around this way. And 12, paste. And I'll bring it down where I want it to be at 12. So when you see this, if I play what we have, you can see that it's a little bit wonky. So I'm gonna go ahead in there and adjust a little bit to make it land at least in the 12 frames, but to be able to show the weight. So we're gonna go on the in-betweens here, and I'll use my selection tool. I'll move it slowly but slowly, tweaking it to make sure it settles in those 12 frames, but it settles in a way that shows the weight without being very jaggedy. I'll select it. And after each frame, I have to keep playing it to see exactly where it is. See, it's starting to look a lot better. Frame number 7. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave frame number 7 intact. So the biggest problem I have is that in here, I made it spend a lot of time up there to show that it's very light, and then at the bottom it went faster. So I'm gonna need to play around with that a little bit. So I'm gonna start exactly with frame 1. I'm gonna twist it, turn it. Frame number 2, twist, or not twist, rotate. Frame number 3, rotate more. Frame number 4, rotate more. And when I play, you can see now it's a lot better. So I'm gonna go to my frames, the last frames actually, and pull it down a little bit because I don't like how fast it goes down here. So I'm gonna go on frame number 11, select it. So you have to be able to admit that you'll be doing a lot of twists and turns in trying to show this animation. And that's what animation is all about. You're supposed to be able to move things and in order for you to be able to make a satisfactory animation. So here it's gonna be a lot more adjusting. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy this frame and I'm gonna paste it forward, and I'm gonna make my feathers settle a little bit more. So if I play, you can see it settling in there. So it shows different weight definitely with the water balloon and the feather. The feather takes a little longer to land while the water balloon lands in only 3 frames. But that's not the end of it. We have some objects that are even heavier than that. So we're gonna go ahead on frame 1 and we're going to draw our bowling pin, something that is way heavier than a water balloon or even a feather. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring out my guide here, and I'm going to draw my bowling pin. Give it the 3 holes to put your fingers in. Give it the 3 holes to put your fingers in when you're bowling, and copy it. Now, if the water balloon fell all the way to the ground in 3, 4-ish frames, it means this bowling pin has to fall down in less than that. So we're gonna make it fall down in almost 2 frames. And so we're gonna go ahead and copy it, and we're going to frame number 2 and pasting it and making it swoosh down real fast. Really fast. And frame number 3, paste, it should already hit the ground and settle. It should already hit the ground and settle. It's actually almost the same speed as the water balloon. So which means what I have to do is I have to go to frame number 2, select it, and make it settle already. So if I play that, you can see that it goes way faster because it's way heavier. So I'm gonna go on frame number 3 and copy it, and all we have to do is paste it throughout our entire animation to show that it already fell and settled down. So these, I'm not trying to make them perfect, but I'm just trying to illustrate to show you guys exactly what happens when you're animating a falling object that has weight and how weight is supposed to be represented. There we go. So you can see the bowling pin falls way faster and it settles down. It doesn't have any more movement after that. It just falls and settles, while the balloon falls and has a lot of after animation. Same thing with the feather. The feather is falling a little slower than everything else. It takes longer to settle on the ground, and when it settles on the ground, it has a very minimal after animation. And so that's how you animate weight, or that's how you animate an object falling. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you like this. Tomorrow we're going to be going into the juicy stuff that is going to be taking us maybe longer to animate, because we're going to be starting with, a face. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye-bye for now.